Welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And on today's episode, we are going to do a recap of the Kentucky versus North Carolina game, the battle of the Blue Bloods, and I'm sure everybody's aware of it. Kentucky was victorious. But I ain't going to lie to y'all, I was definitely worried about this game. The last two games, Kentucky kind of seemed to have regressed a little bit, in my opinion. And I was kind of scared that they were trending backwards. So I was really, really wanting to see if they could bounce back against North Carolina. And they did. Of course, this game could have went either way. Kentucky could have won it by 20 or they could have lost it. But I was glad to see them pull out a nice victory against, at the time, North Carolina was ranked number 9. We ended up taking their spot. We ranked number 9 now. But against a top 10 team, it was good to see Kentucky come out and play like the way they did against Miami, like the way they did against Kansas. For some reason, it just seems like when Kentucky is playing against these top-level teams and they play more instinctively, they just seem to play a whole lot better. Now, obviously, besides the last two games where Kentucky kind of looked like they were going backwards a little bit, they have been a very intelligent playing team. They had high assist to turnover ratio. So, I had definitely high regards for the way they was playing the game earlier, but these last couple of games, like I said, they had went backwards a little bit. But even with them being a high basketball IQ team, I think when they play off instinct, you get to see these boys unleash their talent. You just really see what they can do, and they just seem to play better. Guys like Rob Dillingham, when he gets in his playground bag, if you will, I know sometimes it probably drives Calipari insane, but Calipari just says sometimes you got to just let these guys go. And Rob is one of those guys where, Rob may make a couple mistakes here and there, but Rob is going to make some big plays because when he really is just focused and he's doing his thing, he kind of almost unstoppable offensively. Like on the college level, he's a 3-level scorer. He's not the greatest outside shooter, but he's good enough to where he's going to knock down some threes. He's going to hit some mid-range jumpers, and he can get to the hole, and he can hit all types of creative layups, man. That's why they call him Rob with the shifts. It just seems like wherever he's at on the court, he can get a good shot up. Yeah, he may make a couple mistakes here and there, but ultimately he's going to make something happen while he's out there. And that's one of the reasons why he said that, he's been getting really close to Calipari. I guess he probably was down on himself a little bit after the Global Jam. Might have lost a little bit of confidence, but he was saying that his relationship with Coach is even better now, and he loves that Coach Calipari believes in him. And even though he understands that Calipari wants him to play, a more intelligent game, try to limit the turnovers or the mistakes, he still appreciates the fact that Calipari is letting him do him on the court. And it shows, man. Even though Rob's coming off the bench, he seems happy. He seems like he's focused. Even Reed, I never seen a situation where two guys come off the bench and play this well, and it just seems to not bother them at all. And they both could easily be upset because they both deserve to be starting Division I basketball somewhere. So it's good to see that they are team guys, man. And that's one of the things that I like about this team overall. It just seems like they play so well together. They try to get everybody involved. They really don't worry too much about who's doing the scoring or whatever. They kind of just try to get the ball to the place that it's supposed to be. And it doesn't matter if it's Bradshaw, Mitchell, Adu, Reeves, Reed, Wagner, whoever, Dillingham. They just trying to move the ball and get it to the right place. And that's probably why they've been so successful so far. And to speak on Bradshaw too, man, like I said, I was a little worried about Bradshaw because, like I said, he's just not physically developed yet. So I was just kind of like scared that He would get moved around a lot, but he's still competing. I mean, he didn't have very many rebounds against North Carolina, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just be honest with you. North Carolina just has big dudes. They got one of the best rebounders, probably of all time in college, with Baycott. That's the one thing Baycott does well. He's gonna get you some rebounds. And he's been playing college ball forever. So I didn't think that Bradshaw was gonna have a 20 rebound night, but I think Bradshaw just got some dog in him too. He's gonna compete. He might be thin, but I think he's gonna play hard. He's gonna be able to knock down some outside shots for Kentucky, pull his man away from the basket, and he's gonna be able to get some buckets around the rim and defend the paint a little bit. And it's just I feel more confident now that we have Onyenso and Bradshaw back to help Mitchell because even though sometimes we have the two big man lineup, and I really was enjoying seeing the small ball, it's good to see that we got some rim protectors now. Kind of just making things a little bit difficult for everybody. And even though North Carolina did get some easy buckets around the rim, sometimes the guys would overcommit on defense a little bit. North Carolina was getting some easy baskets or whatever the case may be. But at least I know now when Kentucky finally locks all the way in and they get all their defensive rotations right, they should be hard to score on because they are going to have some timber down there now. They might not be big dudes, but they're going to be tall. They're going to have some length. So we should be able to be tough defensively. And then you got guys that's just going to be active. Wagner, Reed, they really active. Pressuring the ball out front, pressuring the guards. Reed definitely creates turnovers. He's shooting the passing lane. He's got active hands when he's playing on-ball defense, so he creates turnovers a lot. Then, a Dude Thero just making himself extremely valuable because he's just playing hard. He's getting after it on defense, and he knocked down a couple of shots. But if you play as hard as he's playing on defense, you blocking. I think he blocked 4 shots. You blocking 4 shots. You getting rebounds. And basically you a small forward. It's going to be hard for Calipari to keep you out of the game. So, if a Dude Thero's hungry, he could really, start having a really serious impact on his team. And not to knock Justin Edwards, because, Justin Edwards, like I said, he has probably the most upside of all of these players. He with his height, his athleticism, and his skill set, he could potentially be the best one out of this group. But he just ain't quite figured it out yet. And the thing that Calipari was saying was that he had to pull him back a little bit, had to limit his minutes just because, like, defensively, I think he gave up 3 threes, Calipari said. And that's one of the things Calipari always stresses, that, you might be having an off night offensively, but he can't hide you if you're not playing defense. So hopefully everybody is locking in on defense. Because at the end of the day, like they always say, defense wins championships. And I feel confident that Kentucky is going to be able to score pretty consistently no matter who they playing against. So that's one of the things that I don't think we're going to have to worry about. Collectively, this is probably one of the most offensively talented teams we've had in a while, especially when it comes to shooting. Like Calipari was saying, this is one of those teams where he feels confident that if they shoot 23s a game, he's gonna let it fly, because he feels like all over the court he has guys that's capable of making shots. We know Antonio Reeves can get hot and go for big numbers. One of the best shooters in the country. Thing about Antonio Reeves is I just want Antonio Reeves to stay active doing other things. Because if he's not shooting the ball well or whatever the case may be, I want him to be, making some other stuff happen, getting some rebounds, getting some steals, making some plays for other people. But, he's definitely a deadly shooter, probably the best shooter on the team. Now we can add Bradshaw to the list, guys that's capable of making jump shots. Trey Mitchell, obviously, is probably the second best shooter on the team. Then you got Shepard, obviously, Dillingham. Then you even have guys like, you know, Adu, Thero, Wagner, and Edwards that's capable of making a timely three. So collectively, this may be one of the best shooting teams, perimeter shooting teams that Calipari's had in a while, if not the best. You know, I'd have to really sit down and give that some thought. But as far as just like overall having like 4 to 5 guys that's capable of doing some damage from perimeter, this is one of the better teams we had in a while. So this looks like it's just gonna be one of those run and gun teams. Like I said, I'm more confident when they play teams like North Carolina that are gonna run with them, so that they can play more off instinct. Because I feel like when they just playing instinctively and not slowing down and trying to think their way through everything, if they just feeling their way through the game, I think they can be a deadly team, and they could be trouble for anybody. Obviously, we've already seen that they competed very well. Could have beat Kansas, came up short, but they had that one to bet. They had that one to lose. Then obviously we beat North Carolina, we beat Miami. Like I said, them last couple of games we looked a little bit shaky, but I think this team still has some room to grow. Can still get better. Like I said, we just got Onyenso back, along with Bradshaw. So the more they get used to playing, get some more reps in, get acclimated, they just gonna make us that much better. Now, if we get Big Z back, who knows what? You know, the sky could be the limit. Especially if he's been working hard in practice and he's been improving, even though he ain't, you know, able to play. But overall, man, I'm excited. I feel a lot better after watching that than I did coming into the game. I think you know, I was starting to feel like it's just gonna be tough with a lot of young players. Because like I said, we looked at last year's Final Four, and it's just you know, filled up with veteran teams. So it always worries me when we got a lot of young guys, but these guys seem like they growing pretty good. They getting their confidence up, feeling like they can play against anybody. They could be poised to make a special run. Like I said, SEC plays coming up. There's gonna be a lot of good teams in the SEC, so we gotta wait and see what happens. But I'm excited. I'm ready for SEC play. I know we got Louisville this weekend. Louisville's going through their struggles. Probably getting ready to make a coaching change soon. So who knows? You know, earlier I had said that, you know, the Louisville game worried me just because it's a rivalry. And you never know what could happen when you playing your rival. Emotions, you know, obviously with Kenny Payne being the coach, it just could give you a lot of room for things to go wrong. But I feel a lot better after them beating North Carolina. I feel like we should be able to handle Louisville pretty easy. As long as we stay focused, as long as we keep working hard, keep improving, I think we should be good going forward. But anyways, man, I'll wrap it up right there. You guys let me know what you thought about this game. Battle of the Blue Bloods. Kentucky came out victorious. Yes, it was a nail biter, but we made some plays down the stretch and brought it home. But you let me know what you thought about the game, and we'll get back at it next time. Sports and Discourse with Derek Stevenson.